Ford Mustang has been one of the most iconic American cars ever since George Washington drove one over the Delaware River. They're fast, they're fun, and some of them are affordable, which is why everyone and their dad drives them. So why am I talking about the Mustang when the title of this video clearly says Falcon? Because the theme of this episode is the relationship between a son and his dad. And you're about to meet the Mustang's daddy. We're going bumper to bumper on this 1963 Ford Falcon. Big thanks to our sponsor, CuriosityStream, a streaming service that offers over 2,400 titles for anyone with a hunger to learn. They've got some of the best documentaries, educational and nonfiction titles, and it's only $2.99 a month for unlimited access. Water costs more than that every month, and it doesn't even teach you anything. The best part is, for our audience, you little gremlins out there, you get the first 31 days of CuriosityStream absolutely free if you sign up at curiositystream.com/bumper to bumper and use the promo code bumper to bumper. You can't beat that. Support the companies that support Donut. We couldn't make our shows without them. Let me know what you did with the $3 that you saved in your first month in the comments. I bought a Barrico. In the late 50s, cars were steadily growing in size and becoming more and more expensive to own. The idea of a smaller, more affordable car was sounding pretty nice to families that were looking for a second one. So Ford, along with a lot of other American manufacturers, took a page out of the European competitors' book and started rolling out compact car lines. Chrysler had the Valiant, Chevy had the Corvair, and Ford had this little front, the Falcon. First gen Falcons came with an inline 6-cylinder engine that came in both 144 and 170 cubic inch versions. But Ford did something special for the 1963.5 model. Ooh, can you feel little hairs in the back of your neck creeping up? Yeah, they dropped a V8 in it. The Falcon Sprint Edition came stock with bucket seats, chrome wheels, and a 260 cubic inch Challenger V8. The 63.5 Falcon was almost mechanically identical to the 64.5 Mustang that came a year later. You ever heard of it? Now, Ford only made around 10,000 of the Sprints, one of which was owned by the father of the guy who built this Falcon, Michael Richardson. His dad, Randy, was born and raised in the SoCal racing scene and was a founding member of the Los Angeles chapter of the Shelby American Automotive Club, or as I like to call it, SAC. Nowadays, he's the president of the club, but back in the 60s, him and all of his fronds used to race down San Vicente Boulevard in their souped-up American muscle cars. That's cool. When the Falcon Sprint debuted, Randy scooped one up and immediately began tuning it for the track. It was already pretty fast. So Randy just threw on some dual Weber carburetors, swapped out the 3-speed transmission for a Borg-Warner 4-speed, and painted the Falcon in a Shelby GT 350 paint scheme. The piece de resistance were a set of Porsche fender flares that Randy glassed into the body. This dude was doing Rocket Bunny 50 years before Rocket Bunny. Hallelujah! The family had tons of other cars and eventually had to let the Falcon go. But just like your family dog who got sent to a farm and is very happy right now and didn't have his Porsche flares cut off his body, the Falcon Sprint really stuck with Michael. Memories of driving around in his dad's car motivated Mike, that's what I call him now because we're friends, to start searching for a Falcon of his own. And 7 months later, he found exactly what he was looking for. A 63 Falcon Futura. Sure, it wasn't a Sprint, but it would do. Under the hood was a Ford 302 small block and a 4-speed automatic overdrive transmission. It ran like crap and was, in Michael's words, a death trap. But these cars are few and far between, so without hesitation, Michael bought it. His dad's response was, slap some 5-spokes on it and call it a day. But Mike had bigger plans. He had already been making a parts list based off the old car and was dead set on restoring this one to be a period correct copy of his father's, even if that meant sacrificing the performance of today's technology. In Michael's own words, there's something about having to fight your way through a turn and not rely on electronics to correct wheel spin or adjust your suspension. It really is about being one with the car. Respect. So, their first order of business was to strip everything down and start from scratch. Steering, suspension, drivetrain, all those things were ripped out until they were left with the beautiful bare shell, or as us carboys like to call it, a canvas.
Welcome back. I have my little friend Falky here again today.
The first thing they installed, like every smart race boy, were these 5-spoke American racing wheels. These classic wheels look right at home on basically any muscle car, and he's got 2 sets of them. One set for dailying, yes, you heard me correct, dailying. That set is 15 by 10 in the back and 15 by 9 up front. And he's also got another set for the track that are square 15 by 10. Cool, done. Psych, Nolan Sykes. In order to fit these wide boy tires, Michael was gonna need some extra wide Fenderonis. Shout out to Felipe at Tenderoni. Mike's dad's car had fender flares from a Porsche, you remember? But Michael chose to use ones from a 240Z for his project. Again, classic dad and son butting heads. Now his dad also insisted that the flares be glassed into the body like his was, but Michael said, no, I'm gonna bolt them on and leave it raw dog style because I'm a modern millennial, always looking in my phone, and that's how we like it. Michael also replaced the stock rear axle with an 8.8-inch rear axle from a Ford Explorer and added 4-piston Kelly Hayes disc brakes all around. I love that this dude is building an old American car to drive in the twisties and not just go in a straight line. And you can tell that this thing is driven because not only are the rear tires f***ed up, but the front tires are f***ed up as well. Now when my boy Mikey bought it, the car had a blue and white paint job that was not stock. It looked nothing like his dad's Falcon, so it had to go. Bye-bye blue and white. Maybe you'll have better luck in Greece or at the University of Kentucky. Kentucky Cobra. Let's make it a thing. Hashtag Kentucky Cobra, just like we did with buff horses. Let's make it such a thing that my boss can't help but make it a shirt. Buff Horses shirts coming soon. Mo Powell Baby shirts available now at donutmedia.com, or if you click the link in the description below. Mike got the car wrapped in black and white matte vinyl, and it went from looking like a grandpa cruiser to looking like a grandpa bruiser. Honestly, dudes, I walked in here and I couldn't believe it was a wrap. This car looks amazing. For the front, and this is one of the coolest parts, Michael used an old modified front valance that was originally fabricated to be on his dad's car. How cool is that? Imagine having a dad who built the same car as you and still had some parts laying around. I'm really into Volkswagens. And that's like my dad having some hella magic color taillights just like in the garage, and I find them. Not only is this a very cool looking piece, but it's a nice part of the story. Now allow me to get my Falcon friend to help me, and we can take a look under the hood. Whee! Thank you, friend. Be well. His name's Daniel. He eats rats. Now, Michael kept the small block 302 that came with the car. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's got aluminum heads, she's got a hot cam on her, shorty headers, and dual Holley 4-barrel carbs. But he basically ripped everything else out. That 4-speed transmission, boom, get out of here. Tremac 5-speed manual, welcome aboard. The stock steering was swapped out for 65 Mustang steering components. He even had custom GT350 valve covers made. They look very cool. The level of detail Michael put into this car shows just how much love and consideration went into it. Michael and his dad butted heads in the beginning, but his dad was finally coming around to Michael's vision. At this point, the Falcon was shaping up, but it still needed more work. Since Michael wanted to daily this car, but also take it to the track, suspension upgrades were a must. So Michael, my best bro, installed adjustable race conies and 620-pound front springs and custom arch springs for the rear. Handling further improved with the help of a Shelby drop. Now, a Shelby drop is when you bring the upper control arm down an inch. It's the cheapest way to improve handling on older Mustangs, Cougars, and cars like this Falcon. And an added bonus is it gives you that really cool frontward leaning rake. I really like this. Michael kept the Falcon Futura badge, even though it wasn't exactly what his dad had. It's as if he was saying, yeah, Dad, I like where you came from, but I'm my own man. And I don't blame him. It's in such a cool 60s font. Now, if you take a look underneath this pony, you'll notice that the muffler, she ain't stock. That's because Mike ripped him out and replaced it with these side pipes and a Black Widow muffler, which isn't exactly period correct, but apparently it sounds amazing. Let's take a look inside. Daniel! The first thing you notice when you get inside this car are the gauges. They're custom Stewart Warner units, and they're the same ones that Mike's dad had on his Falcon. The steering wheel and shift knob are both classic and very period correct. You got your radio if you want to listen to the Beach Boys, if the Beach Boys happen to be playing on AM radio. And he also added these scat racing seats with 4-point harnesses to keep him safe at the track, as well as this custom 6-point bolt-in cage. This whole thing is very solid, but easily removable. Now the rest of the interior is not finished, but Mike has big plans for it, and I'm sure a lot of you guys with project cars can relate to that. I know that I can. My project car is currently parked in the lobby of Donut, full of period correct boxes. And now for my favorite part of every episode. Let's start this car. Flick on the fuel, flick on the fan, put it in start position, flick on the ignition. Woohoo! Listen to them pumps whirl, boy! Hell yeah, dude! Greg's dying. Our sound guy just died. Good job, Mike. Shouts to Motoring Club for letting us come down here and start cars in their lobby. This Falcon is a metaphor for Michael and Randy's relationship. With every modification they make, the car gets cooler and more powerful, and they become closer as father and son. It's still a work in progress, but like you guys know, it's pretty hard to tell when a build is done. I was on a show with Stifler's mom. I was on one episode of Two Broke Girls. I had 2 lines. I played a character called Drunk Hipster. I spent 2 days with the actress who played Stifler's mom. She was very nice. That was by far the highest paying acting job I ever got. There's a little up to speed on me, James Pumphrey.